Welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the poolside of the Intercontinental. We're talking to Ungwana man, Kenju, because tomorrow, Thursday, May the 29th, is the National Prayer Breakfast Day. A day where all people of all religious backgrounds will be reflecting on where we've come as a nation and also, more importantly, where we need to go. It is important at this juncture in our history, if you will, to move forward, not to keep pulling each other back. And I think Carol Kimtai, you nailed it. This is what Carol says. She says, too much negative energy in Kenya. I think we are a very unhappy nation. Will the prayer breakfast help us, Ken? What should we look forward to?
You know, we are told prayer solves everything. I mean, to pray is to ask God to intercede, is to ask for God's mercies, is to ask for God's intervention. And I think at this critical point in time, we really need to pray. And, you know, by design, the prayer breakfast, which is hosted by Parliament, brings together leaders from across the country, right from the executive, the judiciary, and of course hosted by Parliament, leaders in the armed forces, leaders in the private sector, leaders across the board, just to stop and pray. It also consists of, you know, people from different faiths. Yes, it is convened under the person of Jesus, but we also have the Muslims reading the Quran. We have people from across all faiths invited to the prayer breakfast. But essentially, it is a moment where the nation stops to reflect. And I think where we are right now as a country, it is important for us to keep doing a lot of that.
What should we expect going forward? Because someone had tweeted earlier, I don't know who it was, they said, this is all going to end today. Tomorrow there'll be a new headline. We'll move on because we are so myopic sometimes. We just move on to the next thing.
Well, I don't think that is unique to Kenya. Go to any country. Headlines are different every other day. But I think what is important is that we should have a fixed agenda. We should have, as we have, so to speak, for instance, Vision 2030, which we are following to the latter and auditing and seeing, you know, how far we are going. But in terms of headlines, there will always be different headlines. I don't think we can change that.
Ken, there was supposed to be some U.S. senators coming to this function tomorrow.
Yes.
And last minute, they were told by the State Department they couldn't travel because there's a travel advisory against Kenya. Is that disappointing?
Yes, it is disappointing. And I think at the same time, sobering. I think one of the things, of course, that must do for us is to really make us evaluate whether what these guys are saying is, maybe there's something they know that we don't know. And for the sake of protecting our people, then we need to be able to get to terms with what it is. And I do know, or at least I do believe, the Kenyan security forces do collaborate with the Americans. Of course, the travel advisories are hurting us. And one of the things that I was happy about was, at least to some extent, the British High Commissioner did clarify the fact that they are not the ones who evacuated people,
right,
but rather the insurance companies that had covered those guys. They said, beyond this, we are not going to pay you because, you know, you're in a possibly they thought they were in a war zone.
Yeah.
And so they put them on aircrafts and shipped them out.
Yeah, and the High Commission was quick to say there's at least 25,000 Britons still in Kenya.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this about the irony of the world, of the West,
yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Coup d'etat, military coup d'etat in Thailand. I didn't see any travel advisories.
Well,
I didn't see anyone being told don't go to Thailand.
The truth is, we Kenyans feel it is selective for whatever reason. But the only reason why I can't ground that in certainty is because I really don't know what they know. But for you and me, I mean, we're in Nairobi. Whereas of course, you know, the whole question of bombs or grenades exploding is still in our consciousness, but it's still relatively safe. I mean, if you watch CNN, almost every other day, there is a shooting somewhere in Chicago, whether it's a father shooting a child or a child getting into a school classroom and basically shooting everybody. Violence has almost become the order of the day across the world. Yeah. And you know, I was reflecting on Britain a couple of years ago when the IRA used to bomb everywhere. You know, I remember going to the UK and they would have these announcements everywhere, you know, on the tube stations and, you know, telling you don't leave any bag or any bag will be destroyed. And even today they still do it, yeah. But nobody started saying don't go to Britain. So I think it's a bit unfair. And like was said, by the way, the whole question of you know, terrorism, Al-Shabaab, it's not Africans who've created. Again, it's the West. What they've been doing. Yeah. What they've been doing in those in those Arab countries.
What the president turned around and did, saying, you know, we're going to remove VAT from airlines and encourage companies to hold events in the parks and you know, encourage domestic tourism. Was that a good thing?
I think it's a good thing, and I think my only regret is that it's being done because, you know, the Muzungu tourists are not coming. I think there's a big market for tourists, Kenyan tourists, not only in Kenya but in the region. I mean, Uganda has no coast, and there's a sizable amount of people with the money to spend. And so I've always maintained that tourism for Kenyans should only not be during the cold season. That's when hotel prices go down and they open up the hotels for you. Yeah. But during the high season, they almost ask. I mean, I've gone to some hotels and I've been asked to naenda wap at the gate.
Because you're the only.
You know, you're Africa. A black man at the gate. But a Muzungu just comes walking in, right? But during the low season, the gate is open for you. I think we need some consistency. Yeah. And as I say that, one of the things that is again obvious is that if I may again give the example of Britain during summer. Everybody's traveling. I know that their biggest income is their own locals. So it is a good move. It is a good move, and I hope it will not be reversed the minute the Wazungus come in.
Absolutely. Yes. And also promoting regional tourism, because look, Ethiopia, a country of 90+ million people.
Beautiful country.
They don't have a coastline.
Beautiful country.
Bring them to the coast.
They will come.
Encourage them.
They will come.
I mean, this Masai Mara that all Muzungus talk about as the seventh wonder.
Yes.
Come on, man. Take our people to it.
Let's. I think, and I think the other time I was here, I did say that we should stop looking east or west, and that is not to say that we don't collaborate with people. I have no problem with working with, you know, businesses from the west or businesses from the east, but I think it is time for Africa to look within. Yeah. So that we become what we are meant to be. Absolutely. In my mind, I am clear there is a reason why God put all the resources He put in Africa, and I think it is time that we started using those resources to our benefit, rather than 80% of it going, you know, out to the west or the east, and we're left with 20%, which does not even do us any good.
Ahmed, who had called before, he's actually texted me and he says, "Hi Jeff, it takes one person to change the world. That one person is not yet in the Kenyan leadership class at the moment." Then he goes on to say, "We need spirituality, deep thinking, and soul searching." Ahmed from Eastleigh.
I agree with him 100%. Spirituality, deep thinking, and big thinking, right? The problem we have is that we're still operating on this basic, primitive level. Our turn to eat. Oh, you have eaten 4 times. And when you look at it critically, the people who are being told they've eaten, by the way, most of them live in squalor. All right? But our politicians somehow, season after season, manage to convince us that the problem is the tribe. The problem is that tribe against that community. Many times, and I understand what people are saying, you know, in terms of the tribal arithmetic. But many times I've asked myself, so what if a Kikuyu or Luo is given a job? That job basically feeds him and his family. What we should be talking about is how many jobs we create in this country. How many jobs we are creating in every county. That should be the conversation. So that everybody has something to you know, to eat, as it were. Rather than thinking that it's our turn to eat. Because when you think it's our turn to eat, then what happens? Just a few people eat. But for some reason, we will dance ourselves lame for the right of a few people to eat. That's what I don't understand.
I saw someone tweet the other day, a very disappointing tweet. He says, if we have a by-election in Nairobi, if they call a by-election, we'll show those Kikuyus. It'll be 41 versus 1. I hope that person, I wish someone could just send him to Rwanda for a week. Send him to Rwanda. Let him spend time in that country.
You know, Jeff, many times I keep on saying I don't think we have a tribal problem. Why don't we have a tribal problem? Because even in this hotel, the people who served you, you never asked them. You don't even care what tribe they are. I've never seen a Kenyan get into a matatu and ask, is that fellow a Kikuyu, or is he a Luo if you're a Luo? You want to know whether that where the matatu is going, and you want to know that matatu is safe. I've never gone to a bank and said, if somebody's not a Kikuyu, I don't want to be served. Or if somebody's not a Luo, so-and-so, or a Kisi, so-and-so will not be served. The problem is with the leaders. Because of political bankruptcy, because of lacking vision, they are constantly taking us to the lowest common denominator. If you elect me, I will make sure that tribe does not finish you. Oh, the Kisis are coming. Oh, the Luos are coming. Oh, the Kikuyus are coming.
Are we ever going to get over that?
We will get over that. And as he said, with a different type of leadership. For example, let me give an example that is increasingly disturbing me. Again, for purposes of those who are calling me Jubilee.
Yeah.
When I listen to Kiter talking, and Kiter is a young man, I know,
yes.
I even know him. The whole question of constantly doing, the tribal arithmetic disturbs me. It disturbs me because I say to myself, when a young man sees just tribes, something is wrong.
Yeah.
All right? And so for me, I would rather we have an engagement with Kiter of how we are going to create more jobs so that we are not fighting over one job. So that if one person is removed from a job, then it becomes a community crisis. And if we don't go that way, then there's going to be a problem. Because if we are not creating wealth, if we are not expanding this economy, if it is not growing, it means it's going to shrink. And if it shrinks, it means even those few jobs we have are going to shrink.
Yeah. Kennedy Abulala says that national prayer won't achieve anything. What's the intention in every leader's heart that they did not initially have? Yeah, there are those. There are those skeptics, there are those critics, there are those haters.
One may as well, if you follow that argument, say then shut all the mosques and shut all the churches and all the temples. Things don't work like that. The interesting thing about the whole concept of God, there are people who don't even believe in God. But when they find themselves in a situation where they're in an accident situation and you are just about to bang something, you hear somebody saying, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
That's when you realize there's a God. The fact that even our leaders may be going wayward does not mean they cannot rise. That's one of the things I keep on underlining. It does not mean they cannot rise. What we hope is that God will touch their hearts as they will touch your heart and my heart. Because this is not just a question of leadership. Many times, by the way, maybe I keep on saying, as the gentleman from Italy was saying, that we don't have the leaders. I think we have the leaders. But some of us may be asking, just like Moses was asking, why me? You don't want to step up. All right? They are there. And to suggest that, prayer will not help, I think is futility of the worst caliber.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ken, we've literally got a minute to go. Bottom line, you give us the last word on this, because I wish we can take this show to Rwanda. And I keep coming back to Rwanda because this country, 20 years later, because today, 20 years ago, they were hacking each other in the streets.
Yeah.
Literally, in May 1994, they were hacking each other. Fast forward to 2014, I wish we could take this show there and just spend a week and show people where that country has come.
Jeff, the Shenzi thing about human beings is that we learn nothing from history. Look at the Sudan. They've hacked each other to death. And by the way, now this is not Jubilee and CORD. And this is why I talk about Ungwane and Ushenzi. It's not Jubilee and CORD. It's Mashak and
Salva, yes.
And the Dinkas and the Nuers.
Yes.
Same situation. Same Ushenzi, different forest now, or different monkeys as it were. But because we descend to a level of animalism, then it becomes so easy to kill somebody. It becomes so easy to divide society and say 41 against 1. Let me put it to this nation called Kenya, that the wise thing to do is to get to the table now, rather than first kill people and you'll still get on the table. Whether you fight for 40 years, you will still get on the table. So a wise person is a person who says, I will hold back. The other person holds back. And they say, let us resolve this situation amicably. So in society, there will always be problems. But when you don't have wise leaders, and that is why, again, in the Bible, you find Solomon asking for wisdom, not money, so that he's then able to do the things that are wise, and money follows. All right? And so I am saying that There is no one community that can obliterate another. That is wishful thinking. In Nigeria, there was a time we were talking about the Igbo. They are still there.
Yeah.
Even if you cannot finish anybody, you cannot finish any community. And that is what all communities in this country need to understand. And once you understand that, then we hope that we will rise a leadership that is wise enough. A leadership that has a vision. A leadership that does not always take us to the lowest common denominator. And I'll say this without a fear of contradiction, that there are leaders in this country who cannot survive outside the tribal arithmetic. You remove it, they are finished. They are constantly fanning that.
And that's the only thing that keeps them going.
And that is what caused even the explosion that we had.
Yeah.
All right? So let us build a sense of who we are. Let us appreciate that each and every one of us is a child of God. And if each and every one of us has the ability to ascend to that level where we call that level of ungwana, where we can do things properly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And forget the Oshenziness.
Let us forget the Oshenziness.
Goodness.
And
so
I
much.
have no apology.
None whatsoever.
No, none.
Special guest tomorrow, other than the president, is former U.S. Ambassador General Scott Gratian.
General Scott Gratian.
It's going to be good. What time does it start?
It starts at 8 officially. Yes.
And it's going to go on for a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, it's going to
It'll
go
be live on TV?
Live on TV.
So people should watch it wherever
Yes.
they can.
And should pray with us.
Watch and pray with us.
Yes.
Kenjiro, as always, my brother, God bless you.
God bless you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Asante.
And let's move on as a nation, man.
Thank you.
Kenjiro, folks, listen to this man. Get on his Twitter handle at Ungwana Kenya with a W. Mine is at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is JKL. And let me leave you with these words that I keep saying all the time, folks. Let's keep talking. We have to keep talking. Because the minute we stop talking is the minute we start fighting. And you do not want to go down that slippery slope. Tomorrow night on JKL, we're kicking it back because this weekend is the highlight of the fashion season with the Fafa Fashion Awards. We'll have Kiko Romeo's Anne McCreth on the bench. And yes, one of my favorite supermodels, Ajuma Nasinyanya, something like that. Yeah, Ajuma, as you all know her. That's all going to be tomorrow night. You don't want to miss that show. It's going to be fashion-filled. And yes, lots of fun. In the meantime, keep reflecting on what Kenjiro and his Ungwana campaign is all about. Let's move on. Let's not hate. If you're going to hate, then you'll never move on. You make the choice. It's up to you. Thanks so much for watching. Only on Kenya's television network, KTN. Good night. Good luck.